This is Black Entertainment. This is Black Entertainment. This is Black Entertainment. This is Black Entertainment. Black Entertainment presents Age is Never a Limit to Your Greatness. Be sure to subscribe to all of our social media platforms, linked below in the description. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Age is Not Your Limit to Your Greatness podcast. It is your host, DJ Ogene. In today's episode, we have our special guest again, back for a second round, just to influence y'all, just to motivate you guys and whatnot. So without further ado, host, what's up?
Barry Hood in the building. What's up, man? AKA Rectify, AKA Zany. Glad to be here, man.
Glad to have you back again for another episode.
Yeah.
In today's episode titled The Lessons, Barry will be sharing a lot of things that he learned in life and learned in the music game as well. And we hope that whatever is said in today's podcast will be able to help you all further your own journey, your own path, your own career, your own life. So let's get it started, Barry. You ready?
Let's get it.
What is the most valuable lesson you've learned in your music career, and how did that lesson change your approach to your work?
Valuable lesson is to learn the business before you actually get into it. That's the most valuable lesson I learned. Learn as much as you can about the business. If you're going to be in it, you need to know about it. That's the most valuable lesson.
Can you share a specific mistake that you made earlier in your career? What did you learn from it, and how did it shape sort of your future decisions that you're currently making today?
Yeah, I made a lot of mistakes early on in the game. Even with doing shows, not getting a deposit up front for the gig, and then they cancel the show, so I guess nothing, you know what I mean? But if I would have got that deposit, you cancel the show or whatever, cool, at least I still got something, because that time is valuable. I blocked that time off for y'all, and y'all canceled, man, but I could have been doing something else. Little lessons like that, learn copyright to make sure all your music is copywritten. Some of the stuff we put out wasn't even copywritten, you know what I mean? These are some of the things that you have to learn. ASCAP and BMI to get with companies like that can track your music and track your sales and your plays and your spins and all of that. So stuff like that.
Have there been any mentors or figures in the industry who've taught you important lessons? If so, who are they, and what did you learn from them?
I had a lot of great teachers and mentors in the game, starting from early on. Like, to me, it's different because everybody that I come around is almost like a teacher to me. That's the way I look at it. I never looked at it like I knew more about this thing than somebody else. I was always one to try to learn from pretty much everybody I was around. So everybody was like a mentor to me. Pretty much everybody I ever worked with, I was able to learn something from them. They didn't have to be famous. I mean, this could be like some people that I work with, local artists and whatnot. I could learn something from them. I pretty much tried to look at everybody that I came in contact with was in some ways a mentor to me, because I was trying to learn something from everybody.
Previously, when we have talked before we even did a podcast, you kind of mentioned a lot of the big names in the music game, and one being Flavor Flav. You want to kind of share a little bit about that, how he was a mentor to you? I know you said you were very close with Flavor Flav. I believe that's what you said. If not,
well, I'm the original Flavor Flav hype man. When Flavor Flav go off and do shows as a solo artist, I would be the one that would come out and hype up the stage for him. Now, Flavor Flav is from Public Enemy. He's the greatest hype man of all time. He's the hype man of Public Enemy, but I had the honor of being his hype man, the hype man to the greatest hype man. So that's a huge honor, man. That was like one of the things that really got me going in the game and show business, like the art of putting on shows and traveling. I was able to travel around with Flavor Flav as his hype man and do shows like all around the world. Then he hooked me up with Chuck D and them, Public Enemy, and then I started performing on stage with Public Enemy as well. Did some tours, went around the world with them too. That just was an amazing experience, man. Traveling to all these different countries and performing all around America, all overseas. MCs and everything. So yeah, Flavor Flav was a huge mentor, probably my biggest mentor right there. He taught me a whole lot.
What would you say he's at right now in terms of live music? I know you say you're very connected. Where are you guys at today?
Well, you know, that's always gonna be my brother in the game. I'm saying, like, my big bro, one of my big bros in the game right there. Lifetime friendship, man, with me and Flav. I know his family members. He know family members of mine. Like, I've been to his crib, you know, plenty of times in New York. He been to my crib in Chicago. Yeah, man, that's family right there. You know, that's my brother, Flavor Flav. I feel like, man, that's like one of the most unique and talented dudes in the whole industry, man. Flavor Flav, man. That guy plays about 12, 13 different instruments. Yeah, talented individual right there. That's the one and only, Flavor Flav.
Is there anybody else on that list that you would like to share about regarding the impact they've made in your life?
Oh, man, so many people, man. So many people that I was able to learn different things from. Knowing guys like Snoop Dogg and 50 Cent and Young Jeezy, you know, all these different artists. I could go on just naming, to be able to, you know, work with different people in the game and stuff like that. Like, yeah, it's a lot of stuff that I learned from so many different people, you know, even people like actors and professional athletes and people like Mike Tyson, you know, just random people that I know that I was able to learn some. Thelma from Good Times, old school artists from back in the days like George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic, Bootsy Collins and them. Yeah, it's just so many artists that I've come across with throughout the years, even to Run DMC, doing promotions for them, do promotions for Run DMC. I was the guy to take the records to the radio stations and everything. So yeah, like I was learning stuff, you know, way back then, doing stuff like that.
I know you mentioned actors, and I remember we sort of briefly discussed one of this actor, the actor from Moesha, Brandy,
yeah.
If she has, how she played a role in your life towards your music career. What has she said or done that was sort of a mentorship that made you say, I'm going to go harder in this game?
But just Brandy's whole career, just being around her, that's inspiring enough right there, you know, just watching her make all of these moves and whatnot. I mean, Brandy is a great actress, singer, musician. She has one of the most beautiful tones that you ever want to hear from a vocalist. Like, just listen to Brandy is known for the tone that she has. Like, she got a tone like no other. When you really listen to Brandy sing, you know, you got to go back and listen. But she's known throughout the industry for having this special, very special tone. Whitney Houston took her under her wing, so that should let you know right there. So she just real cool, but she inspired everybody. We all look up to Brandy.
In the music industry, we understand that music industry can be tough. How have you learned to overcome those setbacks or the failures throughout your career?
You just keep pushing. You got to stay focused. You got to have a plan. You got to have a goal. You got to have a dream. You got to have something that pushing you or driving you to do it. Like they say, certain people are driven. You got to have that something inside of you that makes you want to do it. So when you come across setbacks, you can't let that stop you. You can't let that derail you from, you know, reaching your goal. You got to persevere. You got to keep pushing. You know, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult times that come up, man, but you got to just keep going.
I like that. How do you balance then artistic integrity, right, with commercial success, and what have been some lessons that you've learned about this balance?
You got to do what's real for you, not what fit in this market. And when you start trying to create to please a certain market or a certain demographic, then I think that's when you get in trouble. When you're doing it from the heart, that's how you keep your integrity. You do it your way from the heart. Do the right thing. What feels good, what feels right. You can never lose sight of that in this business. Through the lights, fame, the money, them throwing signing bonuses in your face, all this per diem they throwing at you. You can't let that sidetrack you from your goals, man, and your dreams. You got to stay focused to what you want to do and don't get swayed by all of that. The minute you start going against what you really feel and doing it now, you sacrificing. Even if you're selling a few records, it's not real. It's not. I heard you mention the word organic earlier. You know, it's not organic. I think to stay organic within yourself in the music business, and don't let them just, how can I put it? I'm trying to say it, don't just let them use you up. I say it like that. Don't just let them use you up like that, spit you out. You know, stay true to you and what you believe in.
Like I've always said in one of my rap songs, this is something new that y'all just now learning about. But yeah, I used to dabble into music a little bit. I say, stay true to you and you'll come through. And that is facts. And I've always done so
Aye.
since then. This question is more so directed for the newer generation of artists. It's not just for the OGs. Like I said, it's something I've kind of thought about the newer generations, because they're probably going to look at this and be like, hey, what about us? I want to learn something from this as well. So how has the music industry changed over the years, and what lessons do you think the newer generation, the new artists, should take from these changes?
I think the business got away from artist development. It was a thing back then where, couldn't just sign to the label and just put out a record. You don't know how to do interviews. You don't know, they'll jam you up in an interview, get you to speak on stuff you shouldn't be speaking on. Radio stations, man, like you dealing with radio stations, you dealing with concert promoters. You got to know how to carry yourself in the game. You got the press out there. So artist development, man, is something that they got rid of. Now it's like, how many followers do you have? So a lot of these artists haven't been properly developed. They just going just because they got a following they had put out there to put this music out there, but they haven't been. So the music is like suffering because of this. The artist development has been wiped out of the music industry. Now it's all about how many followers. Well, if you got these many followers, let's just put the music out. There's somebody that'll buy it. But we all know that that's the amount of followers is not going to equate to record sales. You could have 30, we done seen this time and time again. You got 30 million followers, but then your first album sales are like 2,000 or 3,000 copies, 5,000 copies first week sale. If you get that many, you know what I mean? But you got 30 million followers. So without artist development, the way they just took that out of the music industry, or maybe the record companies got so cheap that they just didn't want to even spend money on developing the artists. It's just like, okay, they got a following. Why are we developing? That's a new industry. They didn't know if it was going to sell or not, or how many people was going to buy the product. So I think without artist development, man, you're just going to have a lack of creativity out there. Take time as a young artist to develop your craft. Just because you got a lot of followers, that don't mean they're going to buy your music. You still got to study your craft and try to become a better singer, a better rapper, better producer, beat maker, or a musician, or whatever you're doing.
That to me is very, very influential, because as long as you just keep working on you and not just focusing on the social media side of things, everything will always come. And one thing I like to say in life, well, I say that to a lot of people in my life, is always work on you, always focus on you, how you can better your own self, your own life. Try not to look, I don't say don't, because I don't try to tell people what to do. I try to give recommendation or advice if need be, but work on yourself. Try not to focus your intention on, I want to have followings, I want to be popular, or I want people to gravitate towards me. You focus on yourself, everything will always come to you. The word will always revolve around you if you focus on yourself. Everything that you say, coming that you want, you will get it in due time and due respect. In the networking game, what sort of lessons have you learned about building relationships in the industry? How important is networking for success?
Extremely important. You can't just do everything from the computer and think your career gonna turn out the way you want to when you just in the bedroom every night, down in the basement, just messing around and uploading songs and stuff. No, you physically got to get out there and network and meet people and build relationships with people that record executives, people that work at these radio stations, program directors. Get to know security, bodyguards out there, limo drivers, just wherever you go, you want to meet and get to know people and network with people. That's very important. That's how you establish relationships in the game. That's how deals get formed and have based off relationship. That can make or break you in the game. You could be the most talented person out there, but if you didn't take the time to get out there and network and create those relationships, then really you're setting yourself back in a way, because you're not going to reach your fullest potential until you get out there and meet the people that can actually push the button for your career.
As you know, the industry is always evolving. What lessons have you learned about staying relevant and adapting to new trends?
I never follow trends myself personally. I always been doing my own thing type of person, never really follow trends. My thing about a trend is trends come and go. You gonna be a trendy individual and follow trends, or are you gonna set the trends? I was always a trend setter, not a follower. It's just like everybody say Flavor Flav. Like I was one of the ones that helped to get that out there. That's what I used to, as Flavor Flav's hype man, when I would call him to the stage and whatnot, that's one of the things that I would get the crowd to say, to hype up the show. Let me hear you say Flavor Flav, I was saying it a little bit different though. Then let me hear you say Flavor Flav. It was a little bit of melody to it, but Flav took it, which was a song that he wrote in the beginning called Original Flavor, where Flavor Flav had wrote this song called Original Flavor, where he was saying his name like that in the song. I was there when he was recording it. Then me and him ended up doing a song together called See What You Doing to Me. And with the Original Flavor joint, the way he was saying his name, I always remembered that. So when it came down time for me to be the hype man, I was like, okay, the way he said his name on that one song, it might not be a big deal to him, but I remember it. It was dope. I'm going to put it out there like that to the crowd. Let me say Flavor Flav. And the crowd was chanting back. So it's kind of like that stuck and became like a catchphrase. So when you watch the Flavor of Love, the TV shows, that's like a catch. Flavor Flav, the way they say his name. That's trend setting right there. Set the trend to say Flav name out there like that, to get it out there. As his hype man, I want to hype it up. So I want to try to say his name in a way that it'll catch people with like a hook. Like when you write a song and you write that hook line and sing, that's one of the things I want to do, the trend set, man. Don't be following trends. We set the trends, and then next thing you know, the whole world be saying it like that. Flavor Flav. Every time they see him, like he could be walking down the street somewhere right now and somebody see him, Flavor Flav. It's like that all came from us working together and me saying, oh man, that's dope the way he said his name on that song. He ain't even paying attention to it like that, but he killed it with that line right there. I just happened to be in the studio that day.
It's kind of like Jada Kiss with his laugh. It's a unique thing.
Yeah.
And when he gets to spin his laugh, when he do that,
yeah,
or whatever, I don't really have that voice to do it. But when he does that, when people see him, I've seen people that have said something like that, and then that's an iconic thing.
Yeah.
Coming out.
It's like a trademark almost.
Okay. What sort of lessons have you learned about maintaining your mental health, in such a high pressure environment?
Finding things to do that you love to do. It's a lot of stress, especially once you put out some music, and then now it's time to start touring and doing shows. So now the pressure is really on, like you got to get out here and do all these shows, and then after that you got to get back so you can start working on the next project. So it's like, you wake up in the morning, you might have to go to a radio station, do some interviews. You might even have to go to a store to do an in-store type of thing where you're promoting in the store. Then you got to come back to the hotel, get something to eat, start getting ready for the show. Then next thing you know, you got a sound check. So you got to go like to the venue. You got to hop in the van, go to the venue, practically almost do your whole show in the afternoon just to check and make sure everything is running good. Come back to the hotel after that. You might have a few people that want to do some interviews because they know you in town, so they want to catch you before the show. You might have a couple interviews to do before the show. Then you do that. Then you get ready, put your show stuff on. Then you got to go to the venue. Might be some opening acts. You got to sit through that. You're talking to people. You're signing autographs. You're taking pictures. Next thing you know, it's time for you to do your show. And then after you do that show, when the show is over with, it's back to signing autographs, taking pictures, meeting a lot of people. Then it might be an after party that you got to go and do. And so now you there entertaining, hosting, maybe at some nightclub or something. Now you out to like 3-4 in the morning. Then you got to turn around and get back up early the next morning because you got to catch a bus, got to catch a plane to another city, and you got to be at the airport at 7 in the morning. You see what I'm saying? So, and it starts all over again. Yeah, that's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure. You got to make sure you get paid. Everybody got to make sure they get their money. I would say just like doing on your downtime, like spending your downtime doing things that you love to do, that make you feel good, talking to people that you like to talk to, doing things that you like to do, that helps out with the pressure. So when it's time to go and do all this other stuff, you already like in good spirits. It's easier to get through it, and you got to love what you're doing too. If music or art or whatever it is that you into, if you into it just for the money, it's gonna be a problem, because it's gonna be times where you ain't gonna feel like doing it, not even for the money. That's not what you love to do, so it's gonna be rough. But if you love whatever it is you love and you doing that, then it ain't gonna be too much of a problem. You'll get through it as long as you got God in your life, good people around you.
That's facts. As long as you have God in your life and surround yourself by good souls, then that it will be all right.
Yeah.
And shape out well for you. I want to ask another question for the new emerging artists and whatnot, the new generation artists, because once again, I don't want them to feel left. I'm sure like there's a lot that you said that they can take from it, but there's some questions personally for them that could help them grow. And that is, if you could give one lesson to these aspiring musicians today, what would it be and why?
Well, like I was saying, like the lesson would be to take control of your art and be fearless with sharing it. Take control of it. You know, that's you. Rep your art. Be proud of it. Don't worry about trying to please everybody, because it's not going to happen. Don't go down that rabbit hole of thinking you got some negative comments or somebody don't like what you're doing. You got a heckler in the crowd at the show tonight and all this type of stuff. It's like everybody's not going to like what you're doing, so get that out your mind, you know, and just stay focused on what you got to do.
Speaking of crowds or fan engagement, what lessons have you learned about connecting with your audience? How has that influenced your music and career decisions?
They have to connect. They have to find the connection in you, so to speak. Or you being your authentic self, some people will gravitate towards you and what you're doing based off who you are and what you've been through. It's like your crowd finds you. You just be yourself. Don't worry about all that other stuff. You know, just go out there and be your authentic self, and your crowd will find you.
I like that. So with what you've learned in the music game, particularly with collaborating with big artists and big people, Flav, Brandy, and Snoop, a lot of these huge figures and whatnot, how can working with others enhance or challenge your artistic vision?
Oh man, that can bring out the best in you, like collaborating with other people. Just like when I was going on stage performing with Morris Day and the Time. I watched Prince's movie Purple Rain, and I'll always watch Morris Day kind of battling Prince in the movie Purple Rain. That was like Prince and Morris Day was like adversaries in the movie. And to actually go on stage with Morris Day in the Time, it was like, wow, like I'm in the movie. Kind of surreal. And you get an inspiration off when you do stuff like that, like going on stage with Rakim, one of the greatest rappers of all time, Rakim, from the rap group Eric B. and Rakim, man. This the dude that first came with the lyrics that changed the game. You know, everybody was rapping a certain way, real simple, like, but when Rakim came out, you know, that's when everybody had to step their game up with the lyrics. Rakim forced everybody to step your game up lyrically, man. So going on stage with somebody like that, Rakim, even Chicago artists, I've been in the studio with Kanye West, and that was a great experience. Just being in the studio with Kanye. They used to make us like do the Battle of the Beats when we was younger in Chicago. They forced us in the studio together. Like I said, they forced us, you know. The gangsters of Chicago, they forced me and Kanye in the studio together when we was kids, do a Battle of the Beats. It was a beautiful experience, man, because, you know, I was able to learn from that. Just the way Kanye had his equipment set up in the crib. He had everything like facing the wall, you know, and I was like, man, why you got your equipment in the corner like that? Everything facing the corner. I remember he was like, he didn't want nothing to distract him from when he was making the music. He just wanted a blank space in front of him. Everybody got a different way of creating and doing things and whatnot. So yeah, I try to just draw inspiration from all of them, man. Everybody from Thelma, from the TV show Good Times with JJ and Thelma and all of them, the TV show set in Chicago and Cabrini Green projects, like working with Thelma on the spoken word poetry. I produced the music, and her name is Bernadette Stannis. She played the character of Thelma on Good Times. But yeah, just like producing her CD, you know, I learned a lot from her, and that was spoken word poetry. And I had never produced a spoken word poetry project before. She was the first, but just doing that was a learning experience. I learned a lot from that. So I try to take away something from everybody I work with, whether it's Crucial Conflict or Do or Die or Kool Keith from the Ultramagnetic MCs, Original Goon Squad, Steve Ski Matrix and all them, or Aid and Assist, Gus Splatter and them, or whoever. I just try to learn as much as I can from them.
Gotcha. Okay. I didn't know that about you and Kanye. Like I said, we talked about a lot of different things. Just never knew that you met Kanye and you battled with Kanye before.
Yeah, Battle of the Beats in the studio. It came out to a draw. The battle came out to a draw. And the reason why the battle came out to be a draw is because our beats were so different. He was more so like making backpack. That was what we called the backpack style back then. People might not be familiar with that term today, but it was like the guys that was wearing the backpacks that was listening to hip hop, they was listening to alternative hip hop, almost like groups like the Fushnikins and Leaders of the New School, you know, Far Side and stuff like that. It's just like these alternative hip hop groups. That was a specific sound they was coming out with. He was real good at that. Kanye, he had that backpack sound. He used to wear the backpacks in the beginning of his career. It was a whole sound behind that. And my sound was more so like hip hop, more funk induced, I would say. Kind of more closer to what Dre and Snoop and them was doing. So it's just like apples and oranges, man. Couldn't really compare the two sounds. I couldn't make that backpack music like him, but he couldn't make that hardcore, like that street funk music like I could.
I think I've seen before somewhere in one of Kanye's albums, he had like a backpack on or something.
Yeah,
like that.
That's what he used to wear. That was when he was younger. And back then, they say his name Kanye West. Back then, before he was famous, we wasn't saying his name like that. It was more like Kanye. We were saying it more like it was more African, like Kanye. You know, we were saying it one syllable. It wasn't until the industry got in where the announcers and stuff make some noise for Kanye West, you know, Kanye West. So it's just like everybody just started saying it like that, like Kanye West, you know, but we was like Kanye. We said his name different. Everybody said his name different.
But before we wrap up, I just have one final question to sort of ask you to influence all generations, and is regarding like the legacy you want to create and whatnot. As you reflect on your career, what lessons do you hope to pass on to the next generation of musicians? What kind of legacy do you want to leave in the industry?
Well, as far as the legacy part, I really can't say about that. That's up to the people the fans and stuff out there. I think only they could really say. I just hope, you know, they was able to get something positive back from me. I was able to entertain them, put on some good shows, help to put some good music out there. Yeah, I would say that. And what else did you say?
I said, what kind of legacy do you want to leave in the industry?
Yeah, that's the legacy part. Like I said, I just answered that basically. What was the other part?
What lessons do you hope to pass on to the next generation of musicians?
Okay. As far as the lessons, man, just study your craft, man, and don't get caught up in because you got so many followers, you think you ain't got to do the work. I seen artists with 20 million followers and all of their songs sound alike, and it's like people ain't really rocking with them too much no more. Yeah, you can have all the followers, but man, stay sharp with the sword, the lyrical sword. Like, keep your rhymes together, man. Keep them beats tight. Come up with new styles. Get off into, sometimes you gotta expand your horizon. Listen to some different music, like the way I'm looking around in this studio I'm in right now. Bob Marley over here, you know what I'm saying? Revolve over here, you know what I'm saying? It's like expand, you know, Pink Floyd over there, you know, like expand your horizon, listen to some different stuff, man. Sometimes you can pull influences from a lot of different places, you know, that like actually help you out with what you're doing. Don't just get so caught up in the followers. Some people think just because they got the followers, they don't have to do the work no more. They think that, oh, okay, I'm famous now. This was the end game. I made it. I ain't got to do nothing else. I'm at the top. But, you know, you can be like a Michael Jordan or Mike Tyson, somebody that's at the top. They still's working, even as a champion, even as the top dude. Still gotta, because there's always somebody out there that wants your spot, trying to take you out the game, you know. So you just gotta keep working, man. Stay on top of your business as well. If you in the streaming thing, you need to know about streams. Like, where is your music streaming? How much money are you getting per stream? How much is the streaming site getting? How much of a cut are you getting out of that? What's the split? What's the percentage? So these are the things you want to know as a new artist. Just know before you jump in the game, know what you're doing.
Well, I appreciate that a lot, and I'm sure like everybody that's tuning in will be able to gravitate with a lot of the messages you have put out here. Before we get going, what's your social media handle? How can the people follow you? And
catch me just on Facebook, Barry Hood, BARRYHOOD. Get up with me on Facebook.
Gotcha. Follow him on Facebook. You can ask him any further questions, or if you ever need some advice or motivation.
I got you.
Thank you so much, Barry, for coming in again.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
No worries. Yeah, always glad to have you come in and share a lot of insight. Ladies and gentlemen, tune in next time to our third episode called The Applications, in which Barry will talk a lot about how a lot of things in his life he has applied to the music game. A lot of things that he has applied in so many different things. So this is your host, DJ Ogene, signing out. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe. Comment down below for any questions, comment, concerns,